session today. Okay, just received a notification that the meeting is being recorded. I hope it's okay with everyone who's joined. Thank you so much for joining Time for Action on this. This is going to be our second session of talking about scholarships. I'll be moderating the meeting. My name is Salome Piri. I'll be together with my colleague, Victor Piri. And we have two of our guests, the Commonwealth alumni, who will be able to give us insights, who will be like the main speakers for our meeting today, who I am going to welcome shortly. But before that, we have someone from Time for Action who's going to just like tell us what Time for Action is all about under a minute. This is Anissa. Hi, Anissa. Are you able to
Salome.
share a short preview of what Time for Action is?
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can get you.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So Time for Action is basically an organization that offers information on adolescent sexual reproductive health and rights, looking at the rising numbers of HIV and sexually transmitted infections, as well as teenage pregnancies and GBV cases. So the primary focus is to try as much as possible to raise awareness to the adolescents. But part of it, looking at the numbers with how it has been lately, we realize that there's a striking rise in the prevalence rate of HIV. So right now, our focus also is parents to be targeted, to be the ones that will help out in creating an enabling environment to their adolescent children, because we realize that if there are certain children, certain adolescents that are on ARVs, but they do not know that they're taking ARVs and what they are for. So you tend that they sometimes stop taking the ARVs, or they might indulge in sexual activities with their peers, and they might not know each other's statuses, and then they tend to infect each other. And part of the organization also looks into the education of girls that come from homes where they're unable to provide educational support for them. So we usually have people coming on board to at least donate their pledge, and then we sponsor the girls in terms of buying school uniforms and paying the fees, if there are any fees. As we know, it's now free education, but uniforms are not for free. So that's what it's about, basically. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, yes, you can go ahead.
So we're looking for volunteers. We've always looked for volunteers. We have some people that are already on board as volunteers. So if there are people that I feel are interested in wanting to work with us, you can get in touch with us, and we'll talk further on that.
Okay, thank you, Anissa. So right about now, we are just going to go straight into the main program for today. So today we are going to have alumni from the Commonwealth Scholarship, those that have been recipients of the Commonwealth Scholarships. We have Isanju and Felix, who are going to just share with us what this scholarship is all about and the procedure of how to make a successful application. This program is intended to guide and help those that have been trying to apply for scholarships from Zambia, and there could be others that are not Zambian that have joined us. So it can be beneficial for each and everyone who would want to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship, on just getting to know what you are required to do and how to effectively write those applications. we decided to start these sessions because we've been having issues where we've been contacted where people are asking on how to go about in the application process for certain scholarships. So we thought of like inviting the people that have actually gone through the process. We felt it's much easier for the actual people that have applied for these scholarships and gotten them to give proper guidance. And like maybe I just know about a particular scholarship that I applied for. So we thought it best that we could be inviting individuals that have gotten various scholarships to just share what they have for us. So this evening we have Isanju Maseka, who is a 2018-2019 Commonwealth Scholarship holder, who studied a master's in economics and finance for development and currently works as an IT risk assurance professional. Isanju is also a development economics enthusiast whose passion for promoting good governance and sustainable development. She also runs, besides her day-to-day school and work, she also runs a community-based foundation focused on helping vulnerable people in her community. And we also have Felix Kusakola, who is also a 2021-2022 Commonwealth alumni. He studied a master's in sustainable engineering and renewable energy systems and environment in the UK. And he is also a holder of a bachelor's degree in engineering in electromechanics and power systems from the University of Zambia. And Felix currently works in Zambia with ZESCO. Welcome again, Felix and Isanju.
Thank you, Salome.
Okay, so these two are going to go straight into what they have for us in presenting. If I've left out something in introducing you guys, you can go ahead. I don't know who's going to start with their presentation, whether Felix or Isanju. Anyone who's ready can start.
Okay, thank you very much. We have one presentation, so I'll start, then Isanju will take it up after that.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen. Are you able to see that?
Yes. Is
Okay.
everyone, I don't know, and like people can just confirm even in the comment section. It's very, very quiet. So we
Yes, we
just
can
want to
see it.
confirm that people can be able to see and hear what is being talked about.
Yeah, so this is it's going to be an interactive session. So feel free to ask questions, even as we are presenting. You can stop us, you can put questions in the chat box. Salome, because I'm sharing here, so I may not be able to see some messages. So you can help me with that.
Yes, I'll be looking out for messages.
Yeah, and just a correction on my name. I'm Felix Kusaloka. I think you had some trouble pronouncing the surname.
Thank you.
Otherwise everything is okay. And I also want to recognize there are some people here who are actually current recipient of the Commonwealth Scholarship who will be going to the UK. So please, you know yourselves, I'm inviting you. In case I miss something, you can come in and help with the presentation as we discuss and market this scholarship so that so many Zambians and other people around the Commonwealth countries can benefit. So what is, I can't see some, okay. What is Commonwealth Scholarship? Okay. So these are scholarships that are given to talented individuals, all right, with potential to make a positive impact. So it's looking at development. You need to be a change maker because you have to bring out this in your essays because that's the only selection, the criteria that they use for selection. So you need to identify yourself to be somebody who wants to make a change in your community. Could be in your village, could be place of work, you can name it. So the Commonwealth Scholarship Scheme is mainly aimed at Commonwealth countries, you know, students from Commonwealth countries. And Zambia happens to be one of the Commonwealth members. And the Commonwealth usually has been, it's a scholarship that has been there for many years. So if you're going to apply this year to go next year, You will not be the first one. I hope you will not be the last one, considering that we have a new king now. The queen is no more. So maybe there could be changes, but I don't want to make those assumptions. So let's, what I'm simply trying to say is, let's try to maximize the opportunity that this scholarship is still available. Okay, so it's offered by the United Kingdom government. That is the Office for the Commonwealth, and yeah. So if we move on, who can apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship? So for you to be able to apply, as I said, you need to be a resident of a Commonwealth country, or a refugee, or a British protected person. Okay, and then Commonwealth, usually there are masters and PhD. So if you're going for masters, you need to have an undergraduate degree. This second class 2.1. So basically in Zambia, we can say with a credit or better for you to do a master's. Then if you applying to get a PhD, you need to have a relevant master's degree for you to pursue a PhD. And one other important thing that you need to know is that UK education, in terms of the duration, it is one of the shortest in the world. So if you're going for masters, it's just a one-year program. So between now, September, there are people that will be going among that are that have joined us here. So you can imagine this is September. By September next year, you are back. So if you're planning to go next year, you can go in September next year, and 1 year you are back. So it's a very quick and intense program, but very exciting. PhD is 3 years. So the funding will get to that. Then another eligibility is, because there are so many scholarships for under Commonwealth, so the eligibility, it's slightly varies. Because I mean, as I've said, you could be applying for masters, you could be applying for a split Commonwealth scholarship, a shared. So there are small variation in the eligibility. But all this information, what we are simply trying to discuss with everyone today is to just enlighten you to say there's Commonwealth, you can search it, you don't need to pay anyone to help you apply for this. It's free, there's no application fee. So what types of awards are available? So here's a list of all the Commonwealth scholarships that are available. So we have the Commonwealth PhD scholarship, the split site, the masters, the shared, the distance. Then there's also PhD for high income countries. Zambia falls under the least developed countries, I think. Then also have the medical fellowship and the professional fellowship. Personally, I got the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So the common ones that you are going to get, many people that go for, they go for the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. And why I'm mentioning these two is don't just apply for one. I mean, you need to increase your chances. So apply for both Commonwealth Masters, Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. Okay, then the split site is there are those that are, for example, if you've enrolled to do a PhD with the University of Zambia, okay? So they'll be in collaboration with another university in the UK. So it will accord you an opportunity to go and study for 1 academic year, 1 full year, return trip, the flights paid for, and you get a stipend, a £1,000 plus, okay? It's enough money to take care of yourselves there and even do some tourism while you're in the UK. Then PhDs, as I said, you just need to have a master's degree for you to apply for PhD. So there are a lot of scholarships, but mainly for those who are going for masters, you can watch out for master's scholarship and the shared scholarship. PhD, of course, is only one for the least developed countries. You see, when you're applying for a scholarship, you don't just apply based on what you want, okay? This is the mistakes that I also made when I was making my application, because, yeah, so you need to look at what are they looking for? What is the scholarship looking for? So the Commonwealth, CSC is just simply Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. There are themes. So you should choose a course that falls in any of these 6 themes. So if you're going to do engineering, it should fall under science and technology. There's promoting global health, strengthening resilience. It has to be when you make your application, you need to reference to what theme that your program falls under. So as I said, if you're going to do engineering, you need to reference to say it falls under science, technology for development. Don't just do something outside this. Definitely you won't get any chance for it. Financial support available. So the scholarship is fully funded. It covers a return air ticket to the United Kingdom, economy class, not first class. Maybe you can upgrade if you have a little bit of some money, you go to first class. Then there's a living allowance, which you get if you get, the way it's administered is a little bit different. So if you're in a master's scholarship, you get it, I think, every 3 months. If you're a shared scholarship, it will be like a salary. You get it every month. And then you also get thesis, your dissertation research project fund. So there will be some money for that. And because when you go to the UK, it's very cold there. There's also some money called the warm clothing allowance. So there's a lot of money here. So it should motivate a lot of people to apply for this. As much as you are getting your education, you also receive some pounds. Okay, this one is far much better than the bursaries, because I know people like myself and others, you are paying back the bursaries. Okay, so but in this scholarship, it's all free. You don't need to pay back anything. You just need to make sure that you pass your courses and adhere to the terms and conditions for the scholarship. I can't see this. So how do you apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship? So you must identify a nominating agency for you to apply for the Commonwealth. You don't just make an application without a nominating agent. I think Isanju will talk more on the application procedure. I was just trying to give a highlight. If there are any questions, please feel free to interject and ask a question we can discuss. I've noticed I'm just talking alone. So I think I'll end there. I will leave this to Isanji to continue. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, thanks a lot, Felix. So I'll just go through the nominating agencies and we'll go through the questions that are associated with the application as well. Felix, are you okay with presenting the slides? Then I'll just be telling you when to turn to the next one. All right.
All right.
So the nominating agencies. So the way it works, this is the part of the application which confuses a lot of people, because you have your Commonwealth Scholarship application, which you do on the online portal, but then Commonwealth Scholarship Commission doesn't accept you as an individual to just apply directly. You have to apply through a nominating agency. So we'll be going through these different nominating agencies so you can just become familiar with them, and even some of the things related with them. I just wanted to mention on one thing. I know it's been a bit of a controversial issue with the recently closed higher education, HELS, what does it stand for again? Higher Education Loans and Scholarships Board, where people were wondering why they were charging 100 kwacha, I think it was, as you submitted your application. But basically what happens with each of these nominating agencies, they may have specific requirements for them. For example, for me, I applied through FAWEZA, which is the Forum for African Women in Education. I've forgotten the last part of the acronym, but yes. So with them, so with FAWEZA, we have to be members associated with FAWEZA, and then you have to pay a membership fee to them. So I think even with the higher education board, from what I've heard, it's that it's some form of like a fee, like a fee associated with a specific board, but not with the application itself, if that makes sense. I know I've seen a question that's popped up around that, but that's the understanding that I've gotten. So these are the about 6 different nominating agencies. These are the non-governmental ones, but the governmental ones would be like the Higher Education Loans and Scholarship Board that I was talking about. You can go to the next slide. So types of nominating agencies, yes, as I was saying, so there's the National Nominating Agency, which is the government one, which is the Higher Education Loans and Scholarships Board. So usually if you follow their Facebook page or if you even check newspapers or even their website, you will see the different scholarships that they're advertising, and you apply directly to them. So this application has closed. I'm not sure how many of you were able to apply through that, but with that one, what is usually required is you answer some questions, some essays. You also need to show that you have a university acceptance. And then now they've introduced that 100 kwacha fee that you submit as well. And then in terms of NGOs and charitable body nominators, you have ones like Canon Collins Education and Legal Assistance Trust. I think this is one which a lot more people are familiar with. So you can select them as your nominating agency. Based on what I know, you just select them as your nominating agency as you're submitting your application online. And that's how you do it for Canon Collins. And then you've got other ones like the Commonwealth Disabled People's Forum, which brings disabled people from all countries of the Commonwealth to advocate for promotion and equality of opportunities. We can go to the next one. Next slide, yeah. Then we also have Forum for African Women Educationalists, FAWE. So the Zambia office would be called FAWEZA because of the Zambia component, which promotes girls and women's education in sub-Saharan Africa. I saw a question pop up about this. Yes, with FAWEZA, I don't know if I'll answer the question directly, but yes, you do have to be a member to apply through them. So you would have to go, it's advisable to go to their offices to just understand the procedures. As far as I'm concerned, you would fill out a form, a membership form, and pay the necessary membership fee. And then you apply. So when you're applying on the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission website, you select FAWEZA as your nominating agency, but then you have to print out that hard copy, print out a hard copy of your application and go take it to them at their offices as well. So you just need to understand what different nominating agencies require of you. Then you also have the Hali Access Network. Oh yes, someone has said you also have to be a female to apply through FAWEZA, yes, because they're promoting girls and women's education. Yeah, I think they only do nominate females. Sorry to the men. So for Hali Access Network, this is an association of non-profit organizations in Africa that work with high-achieving, low-income students to access international higher education opportunities. So you may find that there are people who are affiliated to different non-profit organizations. If your non-profit organization is actually affiliated with Hali, then you're likely to be able to apply through this one. So you have to have some form of affiliation with whether it's the member that they work with, or maybe you've done some work with. Those are the ones, based on my limited knowledge, that they usually nominate. They need to at least have that track record of some work that you've done. Then there's a Welcome Trust, supports applications from those wishing to study biomedicine as their subject, but note this is only for master's or PhD candidates from Kenya and Malawi only. There's also the Zindel Trust, which offers scholarships to those with refugee status or internally displaced people. But again, this is only for those from Kenya and Uganda. So you need to make sure you understand which nominating agency you're going to choose and ensure you've read up on what it is they're doing, their focus areas, so that your application actually goes through and they consider it. So this is a very key part of the application. So for example, there may be some who missed out on the higher education application process, but you can see that there are other options for you to be able to apply, such as Canon Collins or FAWEZA. We can go on to the next slide. So this is just some students studying. So in terms of the essays, there are various essays that you need to have actually, you have to actually answer to in order to make your application. So there's essays on the development impact, and these have different components of it to allow you to properly break down what your development impact is. So if you look at it from a general perspective, right? The way the Commonwealth works as an institution, or the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission as a component of the Commonwealth, they're trying to help Commonwealth countries become more developed, essentially, or achieve their development targets. So for you as an individual, when you're doing an application like this, what you should be thinking to yourself is, I need to show these people that I'm going to help them achieve their goals in terms of how they're developing the Commonwealth, but I need to show that I'm specifically meeting the objectives of my country, like my country's goals, what it is they're trying to do in terms of development, whether it's the national development agenda that they're working on. You need to show how you fit into that bigger picture. So that's the development impact essay. You also have to talk about your objectives during the award, career plan in the next 5 years, and your long-term career plans, as well as a personal statement and voluntary and leadership experience. So as you can see from this listing, there's quite a number of essays that you need to do. That's why you can't just wake up and say, I'm going to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship today and submit today. It actually takes time. There are people who will be going through this process maybe for 3 or 4 months, even before the deadline, just to ensure that their essays are up to standard, even as they submit them, and that their essays address what it is that the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission is looking for. And even as you're doing your essays, remember the STAR approach, because you don't want to be just baffling about different things as you write your essays. Remember, you need to present the specific situation that you're trying to describe. What is it that they're trying to get from you? You need to describe the situation, the task at hand, the action, and the result following that. So in all this, you're trying to address how it is that you're going to study, them paying for you to go study in the UK is going to achieve these different objectives. So we'll just look at an example and we'll just talk through that, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions around this. So we can move to the next slide. So yes, so this is the one. So in terms of your career plans, what you should be thinking to yourself is, what is it that I want to do for the future? Which direction do I see my career going? In terms of my professional development, what is it I'm lacking? Maybe you'll find that there are certain courses that aren't even offered in Zambia, but you feel like if you were able to take that particular course in the UK, it could actually be a game changer here. There are some people who you find maybe even in lecturing capacities, and they're able to go study something abroad and come and start offering a course similar to that, even on the local realm here in Zambia. So it's certain considerations like that. We can move to the next slide. So an example question which you may get from the essays is, please supply a personal statement of no more than 500 words that summarizes the way in which your personal background has encouraged you to want to make a contribution to development in your country. You should indicate areas in which you have already contributed, such as in overcoming any personal or community barriers to higher education. Note that if there are any gaps in other sections of the application, you could include them in this section. So on this particular one, you have to be very, very careful. You need to have in mind, remember what we said about the STAR approach in a few slides ago. So if someone is not asking you for your life story here, so that you go and start saying, I was born in this village, I did what? No, they're not asking about that. It's about what is it about you as a person brought you to where you are in terms of your career or professional aspirations. Where is it that you want to go? Like, how does that all come together? So you're not telling someone your life history. You need to be explaining to them your convictions in terms of what it is you want to go study. I'll give an example here to make it easier. There are some people, for example, who you find that they grew up, say, in a more rural area where there was no proper hospital there. And then they saw how people were struggling to get basic medication. There was no doctor to attend to people. And that made them decide that I want to pursue medicine. You see, that's something which you can describe in a personal statement, because you're bringing a personal element into it, but you're tying it to how it led you to where you are in your career. We can move to the next slide. Considerations for the essays. Don't play the poverty card to make CSC feel sorry for you, because this is something which a lot of people like to do. You'll be there saying, no, I was born in this village, we had no water, we had no power, we had no... These days, people don't fall for that poverty card. So don't try and do that. Especially, like, you know, people try to also play the card of, I'm from Zambia, which is a least developing country. Please, we need your help. It's as if you're begging someone for help. No, you come to them, you have to come to them with a level of confidence, not as if you are begging for their assistance. So you have to make sure you exhibit that in your essays that you're writing. You also need to ensure there's a logical flow to what it is you're writing. You can't have random passages just put together. You need to make sure that all your essays actually have a logical sequence to them, and they are answering the question in terms of tying back to what the different goals that you're relating to, the goals that Felix went through. You have to be able to tie your essays back to that. Highlight key things that make you stand out from the next person, the magnitude factor. So for example, you might find someone who in your village, you're the one who helped raise money. Okay, let me not say in your village, let me say in your community. Maybe even there's a community near you where there was no borehole or something. You help people come together, raise money, and then put a borehole in that area. It might not even be the community you live. Maybe for you live in Kablonga or something, and then you don't have borehole problems, but you saw a challenge, maybe say like in 10 miles or something, or maybe even further out in another more rural place, and you help raise money for that. That's a key thing that will make someone like, who's reading thousands and thousands of essays be like, oh, look at this person use their initiative to do this. So in the essays, maybe for example, in the one on volunteering, you can bring out something like that. So in terms of direction, ensure there's direction in your essays. This should point to the general direction of what you want to study, why you want to study. For example, it's been a lifelong dream, or maybe this will help me attain certain things in my career, or it will help me help my country to do certain things. And make sure to include voluntary and leadership experience as well. We can go to the next slide. When is the deadline for applications? So applications for Commonwealth Master's Scholarships for the 2023-2024 academic year are now open. The closing date for applications is 18th October, but you also have to keep in mind that different nominating agencies may have different closing dates. So if you want to use that particular nominating agency, you have to make sure that you've applied with them before this closing date. So for example, for the Higher Education Board, their closing date has already passed. I think they're now going through the applications. From what I know, I don't think they've started doing the interviews yet, but you find that the others, maybe such as FAWEZA, are still open. I think FAWEZA usually has the same timeline as the online application. So just keep that in mind and make sure you've started preparing for the essays and preparing for the whole process well before the 18th October deadline. So we can go to the next slide. So I think that brings us to the end of our presentation. We didn't want to make it too long for you because we know a lot of people will have a lot of questions as some of you are going through this process already. So I think I may hand over to Salome to just guide us through the question and answer session.
Okay, thank you so much, Felix and Isanju, for that presentation. So for now, maybe we can be taking like 3 questions and then you guys respond, then we go to the next set of questions. So I'll just be reading the questions out. The first 3, someone asked, like, do they offer scholarships for undergraduates? And this one comes from Monica. Then another question from Cindy, which theme does international relations fall under? It seems to fall under many themes. Then I think for FAWEZA, it's been responded already. Let me just check another question. Another question coming from Jacob, are there interviews in the selection process? So you can just start with these first 3 questions. Any of you guys can pick them up.
Okay, let me just say something. I'll start with the interview question. It depends with the nominating agency, okay? So, for example, if you're applying for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, meaning it's the university where you're going that is going to nominate you. So the essays are the ones that will speak for you. There are no interviews. But again, if you're going to use another nominating agency, for example, the higher education, there are interviews there. I think there are interviews there. So it also depends with the nominating agency. And FAWEZA, I didn't go through FAWEZA. I guess there are interviews as well for FAWEZA. So it depends with the nominating agency. Then for the undergraduate, Commonwealth, as we shared in the slides there, it's just for masters and PhD. I'm not sure if there's undergraduate for Commonwealth. Thank you.
I'll just add on there to say, so for Faweza, there are no interviews per se, but I would advise you to just, if for any women who are interested in applying to Faweza as the nominating agency, it's advisable to just go to their offices. I think they're located in Olympia, just to understand maybe there's some updates to their procedures. You know, sometimes these nominating agencies may change things from year to year. So just to understand the procedures. But from what I know, when I did the application was I submitted online, selected them as the nominating agency, and I had to deliver the hard copy application to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The third question was coming from Cindy. Which theme does international relations fall under? It seems to fall under many themes.
Maybe on this one, we can even go to the slide where we were looking at the...
You can see the slide, huh?
For me, I would think international relations. If you remember what Felix said in his presentation, it's not that you have to pick just one thing for your particular focus area to fall under. It can fall under different things. So for example, it may fall under strengthening global peace, security, and governance. You know, international relations means a lot of things like good governance, but then you can also just see in terms of what your research interests are in international relations, it may fall under one of these other areas, such as strengthening resilience and response to crisis. You know, especially with things like the outbreak of civil unrest that we've seen across the globe, your interest may be in promoting peace and those kind of things. So you may then choose to say you want to study something under international relations, but with a focus on strengthening resilience and response to crisis. So to really look at what is it that you're saying you want to specifically focus on as you study that. So for example, you may even mention like a dissertation topic you have in mind, and then try to tie that to one of these areas. Thank you.
Then just to add something on the essays as well, you should also familiarize yourself with the sustainable development goals, because Commonwealth is about development. So try to mention a lot of development issues in your essays. Then you are going to come up with a winning essay. So as much as you are going to reference to these themes, to any one of them, also try to slot in some sustainable development goals that are aligned with your research topic. Thank you.
Okay, we can go to the other questions. This one, does Commonwealth still sponsor family? Then Elvis is asking, is there an age limit? Then Brown Cassandra is asking, is it a must for one to have voluntary experience in order to be eligible? Those three questions, can answer them, then we go to the next ones.
Okay, thank you. Commonwealth, yes, does offer some partial assistance to families, as in children, but it's not very sufficient. But there is some assistance to that for those who are going with family. There's an allowance that each child gets, but it reduces on the number of children. Yeah. Then what was the other question? Age limit.
Is there an age limit?
There is no age limit. Commonwealth is a very good scholarship. There's no age limit. The only important criteria, for example, that one who was asking about the years of experience, you need to have tangible, at least 2 years experience, essentially, right? It should be 2 years of quantifiable work experience, and there's no age limit.
So on that one, to do with the work experience, I think the Chevening scholarship is the one which specifically states 2 years, but it is advisable on the Commonwealth side, especially because you're trying to prove you've already been working on this. So I think they follow a similar review process, like you'll look to see that you have at least those years of experience. So it's advisable to at least have the 2, because through that you're able to prove, like, is this a career that you actually want to be in? And you're also able to justify what it is you want to study, because at least you've gained that level of experience, though they may not outrightly state it.
Okay, thank you.
And remember the essays, because the main issue is the essays. They are the ones that will speak for you. You will not be there. So if you've had some 2 years experience, it will be easier for you to write a winning essay, because you're going to reference your job experience, okay? The difficult issues that you faced at work, how you solved them, how you want to acquire that further education and to come and solve these problems that you've experienced. So it's very advantageous if you can have some, at least, work experience. Not so much, just a little bit.
Thank you. Delight Hangala is asking, can you recommend UK universities with the higher acceptance rate and those that don't require the English international test? Then Elvis, are precious UK scholarship recipients eligible for the Commonwealth Scholarship? Then Nema is asking, which one is more advantageous, applying through an agency or self? And kindly explain.
Essentially.
So, okay, so in terms of the first question, you know, actually looking for a UK university is quite a big task, because you're trying to find a university where you can get accepted, they'll accept your credentials, and I'm not sure if you guys have been seeing some of the world rankings. You find some of these universities, they actually have a challenge in recognizing some of the degrees that come from our universities, especially if you went to some of these universities where they're not even in the top 5 that are in Zambia. You find it may be a bit of a challenge, but there's still a way. You just need to make sure you do a lot of research around it. So in terms of finding the universities where maybe you don't have to pay an application fee, you're probably not going to be looking like, say, at the top, even top 50, maybe top 20, top 50. Those ones, because they get such a high number of applications, they'll charge an application fee of some sort. So if you don't have money to waste on application fees, there are other universities with an application fee. I'll give an example, not to say you guys should apply here, but I'm just giving an example of the university that I went to, because it's fairly straightforward to get into. So I went to the University of Bradford. It's in Northern England. There it's very much straightforward. I think you may have the requirement of proving you can speak in English, but sometimes, depending on what kind of papers you have as well, you may find they even exempt you from that. So it's just a matter of seeing what's out there and which universities you can apply to, because in all realisticness, sometimes you may not even have the money to do the English language exam, because the English language exam, the IELTS one, it's about, I think, between 4,000 to 5,000 at the moment. So you find that you might not even have the money to be able to do that, but some may have the money and you decide, maybe I want to go to Oxford, for example. By all means, please, you can go ahead and do that. But for others who may be working with more of a budget, you can actually find other institutions where you may not be required to provide that. So it's just about doing the research around that. I've taken a bit of time on that. I've forgotten the other question, sorry.
Okay, I think the other one was asking if you have precious UK scholarship recipients eligible for Commonwealth Scholarship.
I think they're trying to say previous, right? Maybe previous instead of precious.
Yeah, is it
previous,
precious or previous?
Yeah. Previous. Maybe they made a spelling mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, so previous UK scholarship recipients, are they eligible?
Yes, are they eligible for Commonwealth?
That's the question, yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they very much are eligible. You know, when I was actually a Commonwealth scholar in the United Kingdom, I found someone from Nigeria. This guy tells me he has studied two masters on Commonwealth and he's now doing his PhD in the UK. It's just about how you can justify yourself with those essays. That's why we keep emphasizing that you need to make sure that, that your essays are up to par. For them, as long as they're able to see the development impact from your studies, and you're even able to prove it as you go back home. So for example, like if you've gotten Commonwealth Scholarship at master's level, or even the Chevening scholarship at master's level, and now you want to go back and do a PhD, they're going to be asking questions like, okay, what did you do after you did that first program? And how can we be sure that you're going to actually bring about the development you say you bring about, or you're going to help your country the way you say you will? So you have to be able to just justify that. Then you'll be able to get the scholarship.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Brown Cassandra. Do you apply to the university first before applying for the scholarship?
You do it at the same time. You do it at the same time, you know. So if the university has started accepting applications, you need, by the way, you need to apply to more than one, because you may get some rejections. I think I applied to 10 or 15, something like that. Okay, so you don't need to get tired. Then when the scholarship is open for accepting applications, you also apply for that. For example, if you're applying for the shared scholarship, in your application to the university, you need to state, to say, I want to be considered for the Commonwealth Scholarship, so that the university will nominate you. But for a master's scholarship, you just apply. All they want, in case you get a scholarship, is it unconditional or non-conditional? Yeah, it's unconditional, right? Do we say unconditional or non-conditional? Yeah.
I think unconditional.
Unconditional offer.
Unconditional offer. You need to get that. Okay, because the condition could be, some investors want you to do IELTS. So as you're applying also, do your research to say, okay, I mean, we are in Zambia, want to avoid certain other expenses, because when you convert your kwacha to pound, you find you are going to spend a lot of money. So apply to universities where they don't require IELTS, they don't require application fee, so that you can spread your, cast your net wide, right? But if you have some money, you can do those things. I did the IELTS though, but it's up to you. It's up to what you can afford.
Thank you. Alexander Zulu is asking, saying, I am male and higher education, and the higher education deadline has passed. The other nominating agencies are not in Zambia. Do we have any other nominating agencies specific for Zambia?
So I can respond on that one. You can use, you can try and apply to Canon Collins. It's still open. And then you can also check if you have an affiliation, maybe with Early Access Network. You can just research on that one as well and see if it's available for you to apply to. But I have a friend who got, for him, when he applied through Canon Collins.
So this scholarship it's highly online. Huh? So even if there's no nominating agent, for example, the Canon Collins, I also submitted my application there. It's based in the UK. So you do everything online. So you don't need to worry about having an office in Lusaka.
Okay. This one is, Cindy is saying, please share your emails. We follow up with essay writing. Then Chilufia is saying, since the deadline is fast approaching, is it better to do as many applications to universities as possible, because you need to give 3 university options?
In the application process, they don't necessarily need an unconditional offer. You just list the universities, but start pushing. You need to push the universities to make sure that you get an unconditional offer. But in the application, you just list the 3 universities in the order of your preference, and then make sure that you get admission to those 3, at least one of the 3 universities. So that's why it's better to apply to the university before the scholarship application, because then it will give you an edge. Because the inconvenience would be you list these universities and then you don't get admitted to these universities. It may cause some issues there.
And just to add on to that one, because at least if you're even able to get into a UK university, so basically the way the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission looks at it when you submit your application is, this person is showing me they can already get into a UK university. Their essays are showing me they have what it takes to be able to go back and help their country help the Commonwealth at large, but what they just don't have is money. So even as you're doing your essays, have that in mind. That's what you're trying to show them. Like, you people, for me, I'm ready to do this and this and this. I want to do A, B, C, D, but I just don't have the money to be able to go and fund myself to do the studies. That's why I need you.
Okay. Pande is asking, I think this is to do with essays. How vital is quoting statistics, local and international statistics in our essays?
What's the question again?
How vital is quoting statistics when you're writing essays?
Quoting statistics.
Like maybe
on this one, I would say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like including maybe statistics, if they want to specifically maybe talk of if they're doing development studies, maybe according to this, Zambia is estimated to have maybe 30% of poverty rates and whatnot. Yeah, just like specifying, especially when you talked of the SDGs, those things can have statistics at some point. So maybe they're trying to clarify, like, can you go all technical and quote the statistics and include them in your essays?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay.
So on that one, I'll just add, just to advise you as well. I've seen some essays where someone, the problem with sometimes with the quoting, say, for example, statistics, you want to dedicate a whole paragraph towards quoting those statistics and thinking that because you're quoting the UN, it's going to make the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission give you the scholarship. No, some of those statistics, maybe they were even involved in generating those statistics. So they know them. What they're interested in is what you are going to do and what you're going to do with the degree that you're going to get. So you have to be very careful. Maybe use like 1, 2, 3 lines somewhere to quote some statistics, but make sure those statistics, you're using them as a point to drive home what you're already trying to communicate to them. You have to be very careful. Ensure that you just don't go overboard quoting certain things.
And just to add on that, the essays, you are simply telling a story about yourself. So the statistics could be there, but moreover, that is not about you. The statistics is not about you. So yeah, you can put them there, but you need to tread carefully.
Okay. Pande is asking, does it matter that one may not be currently working, but has more than 2 years past experience in the application? Can they apply?
Yes, they can. That person can apply. So for you who is not even working now, you have all the more reason to do more research than others, because now you need to show, even though they are not working there, for you, you have all the time now to convince them that, look, for me, I actually need something to do. So you have to make sure you put in extra to even make sure you beat those people who are working and don't have as much time as you.
Thank you. I think this is like the last question. Martin, do I need to apply to UK universities for me to qualify for the Commonwealth Scholarship, or I can apply to any university apart from the UK and still qualify? Have you gotten
So
the question?
on that one, what I would say is, yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you.
Okay, so what I would say is, first of all, there are different types of Commonwealth applications. The one we're specifically referring to is the one for you to go and study in the United Kingdom. But you'll find, for example, that I think I've seen some other ones where they say like, I think there's a Commonwealth one where you study, say, for example, within Africa, within like the lower income countries. But the one we're specifically talking about, because it's the one that we got, is the one where you go to the UK. So make sure that depending on which application you decide to do, you're applying for university specific to the area that they've specified.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Felix, you can answer. Martin is, no, not Martin, but someone is still asking about the sponsoring of a family. You said it includes partially with children. Does it also include the spouse? That's for the PhD.
No. If you can go there, the spouse, no.
Okay.
Yeah. And even the children, it's just an allowance when you get there. Otherwise, for you to even, you need to book your own flight. You need to pay for your own visa. So the issue is they'll just be giving you some small stipend towards the children. So if you go with a partner, the good thing is that your partner can get a job and you'll still survive.
Right. One of the question is asking about when you're done with the program, is it a must that you're supposed to come back to your country or you can still stay for other opportunities?
The Commonwealth Scholarship only sponsors a student visa. For you to stay there, you need a work visa. That's a different ballgame. And moreover, when you sign, there are those terms and conditions. When you finish your studies, within 1 month, you need to return to your country. Because when you are studying there, every month, the university has to communicate to the immigration department, say this person is still studying with us. So when you finish studying, they will also communicate. And if you're unfortunate, immediately you finish studying after a month or 2 months, even if your visa is, because the visa, they'll give you even 6 months more. They may discontinue your visa. And then if you try to run away from Commonwealth, you want to disappear in the UK, then the law will catch up with you. And once the law catches up with you, you are going to be charged to repay all the money that Commonwealth spent on you with interest. So just follow the terms and conditions. Come back. If you want to go to the UK, apply for another visa called the work visa. Then you can go and work there. But again, you can also stay over to proceed to PhD. But again, you'll still be under a student visa, where you can only work for less than 20 hours per week.
Thank you so much to the two that have had their time to share more on the Commonwealth scholarships. I believe we've come, it's almost 21 hours. So I'd just like to give the two of you just under a minute, any last words that you might have before we close the meeting, starting with Felix.
Thank you very much, Salome. Thank you very much, everybody who attended. We are wishing you well in your search for the Commonwealth Scholarship. So in terms of the essays, please just concentrate on the essays, do a self-introspection, write about yourself, let it come from your heart. But as Isanju said, don't beg like, you know, you've suffered too much, you need to get this, you know, just tell a story that will be exciting, that will be persuasive. All right. Yeah, that's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Isanju, any last words?
So what I'll just say is just to encourage people that, you know, these things, you have to be very determined in what it is you want to do. Don't let someone be forcing you to do it because you just get frustrated. It's something you have to be committed to. But even then, just keep pushing. And you know, when you say you're applying for a master's scholarship, it doesn't mean that you should say, I'm only applying to Commonwealth. Apply for all the master's scholarships that you can find that you're eligible for. Whether it's the Swedish scholarship, there's a MasterCard scholarship, just apply for everything. Your goal should be that you're trying to get to either a PhD or a master's. So you have to find the different ways to go. There's even the Irish Embassy scholarship. So just try everything. You know, for me, when I was doing my scholarship applications, I think I tried for 2 or 3 years. The first 2 years, I wasn't so serious and I didn't get in. By the time it was the 3rd year, I said, hey, anything that has the word scholarship in it is eligible and I'm eligible for it, I'm applying for it. I applied to Canada, to where didn't I apply? By the time that I was actually getting my scholarship, I had a scholarship to go to Canada on a MasterCard scholarship, fully funded as well, or to go to Commonwealth. Now, you know, you even have like next level problems. You're saying to yourself, okay, so should I choose Canada or should I choose the United Kingdom? You know, those are your problems then. Not where you're like, I keep trying, but I'm not getting anything. So you just have to go all out. And then you see at least if you get to that stage where you're even just deciding which scholarship you want to apply to, but don't give up. Sometimes you may not get it the first time, but just keep trying again because you know what your end goal is. And also just an encouragement that these days there are so many people who are willing to pay for you, especially when you come from a developing country like the one we're in, Zambia. You find there are people who are willing to fund your education, unless you're willing to pay for yourself somewhere. I mean, but if someone is willing to fund you, by all means, go for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isanju and Victor. We've had a wonderful session and we've learned a lot. I believe that all the questions were answered. And we just want to wish all the best to the people that are going to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship and other scholarships. I would invite Victor from the Time for Action if he has any last words as we close.
Thank you so much, Salome. I believe the meeting was fruitful, and I hope we've learned one or two things. And we will share the recording on the Time for Action Zambia page. So you can just follow that page and you'll be able to find that information. And again, if you've got specific questions that maybe you would like to find out, please let us know and we'll reach out to the presenters and they will respond accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely night and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salome.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night. Thank you.
See you in London.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Bye.